The smell of floor wax and expensive cologne always preceded my father, even when he wasn't really there. "Bishop is busy, Samuel," he said, not looking up from a leather-bound commentary. I was 16, standing in the doorway of his study with a trophy I'd won for a game he never saw. "The Lord's work doesn't punch a clock. Go ask your mother for dinner." "The Lord's work," I muttered, gripping the plastic gold wing of the trophy until it snapped. "Is the Lord the one who told you to skip my graduation too? Or was that just the building committee?" He finally looked up, his eyes cold as a winter morning. "Watch your tone. I'm building a legacy that will shelter you for the rest of your life." "Don't want a shelter, Dad. I want a father." I slammed the broken trophy onto his mahogany desk, right on top of his sermon notes. "But keep building your towers. Just don't be surprised when you're the only one living in them." I didn't wait for the lecture. I went to the streets. The boys in the black axe didn't ask about my quiet time or my tithes. They asked if I was hungry. They asked if I had their back. A year later, the legacy my father built met the reality I had chosen. The clash at the plaza was a blur of screeching tires and the rhythmic pop-pop-pop of small arms fire. I felt a heat like a branding iron tear through my side. I hit the pavement, the taste of copper filling my mouth, watching my brothers vanish into the shadows. I woke up to the sound of a heart monitor and the sight of a man I didn't recognize. My father was sitting in a plastic chair, his designer suit jacket discarded on the floor, his white shirt stained with sweat and yellow hospital grease. He looked small. For the first time in my life, the bishop looked like a man. "Awake," he whispered. He reached for his Bible on the bedside table, then hesitated. He pulled his hand back as if the leather burned him. "Go ahead," I croaked, my throat feeling like it was filled with glass. "Read me the one about the prodigal son. Tell me how I brought shame to the altar. Get it over with." He didn't open the book. Instead, he leaned forward and put his forehead against my shaking hand. I felt the wetness of his tears before I heard the sob. "I went to the plaza," he choked out. I stood in the blood on that concrete and I realized. I could name every Greek root in the New Testament, but I couldn't tell you the name of your best friend. I could pray for 1,000 strangers, but I didn't know the sound of my own son's heart breaking. "The board called," I said, nodding toward his phone, which was vibrating off the table. "They want their bishop." He grabbed the phone and without a second thought hurled it against the far wall. It shattered into a dozen pieces. "Let the bishop stay dead," he said, his voice raw and stripped of its Sunday polish. He was a fraud anyway. He was building a kingdom for a God he didn't even know because he couldn't love the flesh and blood God gave him. He gripped my hand, his knuckles white. "Samuel, I am a man who has lived a lie. I don't want your forgiveness today. I haven't earned it. I just want to sit here. I want to be the man who stays until you're strong enough to walk out of here. And then, I want to learn who you are." I looked at the broken phone on the floor and then at the broken man beside me. For the first time, the house of cards had fallen, and finally, we were standing on solid ground.